Here to do your Jupiter retrograde reading and, well, Jupiter retrograde and Chiron retrograde in Aries. Uh, they are both in retrograde in Aries. Yes, Jupiter's in retrograde and Chiron in retrograde, both in Aries. And for you, that's in your fifth house. So Jupiter is your ruler. So you know Jupiter is all about expansion, growth, and excess, right? So when we're looking at Jupiter in retrograde, we're looking at, okay, where, because Jupiter's all about good luck and taking risks as well, right? Being optimistic, looking at the glass half full, like, sure, I can do this, let's take the risk. Well, when Jupiter's in retrograde, now we're looking at, okay, you took the risk, but what did you overcompensate to do it? Or if you didn't take the risk, why didn't you take the risk? What were you afraid of? And so when we're dealing with Chiron, and then we're dealing with the energy of Aries. Aries is the energy of I am. So that's all about your self-esteem, self-worth. So when we're looking at Jupiter in retrograde here, we're looking at, okay, your self-esteem either played a part in you going too far, doing too much, maybe being greedy, because when Jupiter in excess, when it's in retrograde, it could be greed, gluttony, overindulging, right? Or it could be an energy of you maybe feeling like you don't deserve, or people trying to push energy on you in reference to you not deserving, or not being not being in a position where you deserve it, or something like that. With Chiron is the wounded healer. So Chiron, to me, is the energy of, we all have our wounds that we have to deal with, right? But we still got to get up and go out and do what we got to do. So, you may have some personal issues you're dealing with, but if you got a family to provide for, you still got to go out and get this money, right? So, you may find a little time to deal with your personal wounds, but maybe you don't have a whole lot of time to deal with them. So instead, you may just, cover them up with a band-aid. But the wounds are so deep that they're not going to just heal with a band-aid. So you find yourself constantly licking these wounds. Well, now with Chiron in retrograde, what we want to look at is, there's a wound there. First of all, some of us need to acknowledge that there's a wound there, right? There's a wound there, but instead of us covering up with a band-aid or just licking it briefly and keeping it moving, we need to look at why this wound is as deep as it is, so that we can figure out how it got here, and then we can figure out how to heal it. So these energies are going to be in retrograde until your season, actually, right? So they came into retrograde in July, so almost half the year, right, that we're dealing with these energies, all right, in your fifth house. So the fifth house it's going to relate to, like, your creativity or your identity as an artist, the demands of children, whether you're a teacher or whether you have children, okay, your childhood, things that went on with you in your childhood. Because Chiron, the wounded healer energy, he had these wounds since birth. Like, for example, he was born under the energy of rape. His father raped his mother. And because he was a half centurion and half human who was deformed, so most centurions, they have all four of their legs are horse legs, and the top part of their body from the torso up is human. That's most centurions. Well, Chiron was born deformed, right? So he had his two front legs, those were human legs, and his two back legs were horse legs. So that's like a deformity for a centurion, right? Usually all four legs are horse legs. So because his mother was raped, so she was dealing with the psychological trauma of being raped, and then the fact that he was deformed or, physically disfigured, she really wasn't mentally capable of keeping him, so she gave him away. So he's dealing with these types of energies from birth. And then on top of that, he was wounded, and because he's part immortal, his wound never healed. So he had to keep doing what he was doing while his wound was still affecting him. Now, he's known as a great healer, okay? So he had people coming from all over the world to receive his teachings, because that's how good he was at what he did. But yet, even though him being a renowned teacher, he still had his own wounds he had to deal with, but he dealt with those wounds and he kept it moving. So Chiron is the energy of, we have our wounds to deal with, but there's going to be a point in time where we have to stop and deal with those wounds. And he had to stop and deal with his, right? So with Chiron in retrograde, we're stopping and we're dealing with our wounds. Now, for those of you who are 50 and 51 years old, you are going through your Chiron, you're going through your Chiron return. If you are Chiron, if you were born with Chiron in Aries and you're 50 or 51 years old, you're in your Chiron return right now. Okay? Your Chiron return occurs when you're about 50, 51 years old. All right? So for those of you who are native Chiron and Aries people, you're dealing with this right now. You're going through Chiron retrograde for your first Chiron return. All right, so let's get into this. All right, so with the fifth house, you're, like I said, you're dealing with um, you know, pleasures, right? You're also dealing with possessions with pleasure. You're dealing with love affairs. You're dealing with the results of courtship, sex and dating, compelling appetites like sexual appetites, hell raising play, like the things you like to do for fun, right? But these could be negative things, okay? Gambling, sports, drunkenness, hedonism, and sexual addictions, right? These are some things that you could be overindulging in reference to compensating for the unhealed wounds to your ego. Because when we deal with the Aries energy, we're dealing with the energy of I am, and I am is like who you are, right? You command your space in this environment just like everybody else does. But there could have been some type of wound that may have occurred in some way, shape, or form, maybe from the time that you were born, or maybe when you were a child, since we're dealing with the fifth house, where you may have felt some incompetency in this particular area in the fifth house, right? So again, it could have been something that may have happened to you as a child, or it could be now that you're an adult, you could be having some issues with your children, or you could be having creative identity issues. You could be dabbling in excess and hedonistic pleasures, okay, or dealing with, you're attracting people who want to use you as part of their hedonistic pleasure. These types of things, sexual appetites, things that you do to have fun that, maybe traumatize others, or you've been the butt of, people traumatizing you for fun in some way, shape, or form, because the fifth house deals with what you like to do for fun, okay? So let's take a look and see what's going on. So we have the death energy. This is scorpionic energy. So there's definitely transformation, time for change, time for something to end, okay? Let's take a look at these cards. So we have the sun, major arcana of Leo. We're in the fifth house, okay? First thing coming out. So this could have to do with your childhood, okay? Something that happened in childhood. The challenge is the scorpionic energy, which is the King of Cups. Something maybe you're keeping to yourself that may have happened. We have the star energy here, which is Aquarius. So this is about forward movement, time to move away from that, move on from that, heal from that. We got the opposite polarities here, Leo and Aquarius, okay? And we have the Five of Pentacles here. So this is about walking away from energies of not feeling worthy, okay? Self-esteem, self-respect. And with the Fool energy in reverse here, in a position where you're not playing the fool or being the butt of someone's jokes anymore, okay? So I feel like for some of you, maybe, you're looking, okay, because we have these energies in retrograde. When you're looking at retrograde energies, you're turning the focus inward on yourself, okay? And we're looking at why you may overindulge in things in this particular area of life, okay? So I want to clarify these major arcanas to get a little bit more detail here, since we got two of them here. So tell me about this sun energy, all right? This is about pride. Leo energy, King of Wands. There we go, Leo on top of Leo. Some of you may have dealt with some type of sexual abuse as a child, okay? Some of you may have, the Leo energy also talks about the father energy. So some of you, maybe you're having issues with seeing your children. Maybe you're in a connection or relationship with someone where you have children, and your children are your pride and joy. They're your heart and soul, and maybe there's some issues behind you seeing them or not being able to connect with them. Some of you, maybe a child of yours passed away. My condolences to you all, for those of you who are dealing with the pain of that, because that could very well be something that you're dealing with this Chiron energy here in your house, okay? But there's an energy of taking action, standing your ground, commanding your value and your self-worth also for others, okay? The challenge here is the King of Cup energy. So the challenge is going through some type of transformation, emotionally connecting. But this could also have to do with a sexual energy as well, with the scorpionic energy. Scorpio and Leo together Talks to me about sexual energy, sexual fetishes. Okay, like I said, some of you, maybe you have experienced some abuse. Let's clarify this King of Cups for me. Some of you, maybe you're not able to establish emotional connections with people because of something that went on in your childhood, whether it was sexual abuse or otherwise, or just, something else. Maybe you're having issues with your dad. Maybe there were issues with you connecting with your dad. Five of Cup energy. There's some type of loss here with the Five of Cup, and this is Scorpio on top of Scorpio. Leo on top of Leo, Scorpio on top of Scorpio here. So there's some type of loss here with this Five of Cups. This is Mars. This is you not being able to move on past some type of a loss. This could be, the King of Cups is something that you hide. Scorpionic energy, maybe you're hiding this, and this is something that you mourn privately. But the universe wants you to heal from this. The universe is telling you now is the time to deal with this and reflect on this so that you are able to heal. This is going to be a healing moment for you if you take advantage of it. But first you have to acknowledge the fact that this pain is what's causing you to act out in excess. So whatever it is that you're doing in excess, whether it's having a lot of sex, whether it's indulging in a lot of drugs, or doing both, okay, you have to acknowledge that, okay, this behavior comes from somewhere, and it comes from a pain, and understanding what that pain is, and that pain is causing that, then at that point you can focus on the healing. Talk to me about the healing, please, for Sagittarius. Yeah, we have the Nine of Swords energy in reverse. Exactly. Being able to let this go. Yeah, because here you're holding on to it with the Five of Cups. The Nine of Swords energy in reverse, you're letting it go so that you're able to sleep at night. For some of you, you have a difficult time sleeping because this haunts you. Talking about with this Five of Pentacles here, this is you moving away from not being emotionally secure and stable. Clarify this Five of Coins. Okay, so we have the Knight of Wands energy in reverse and the Fool energy again. So new beginnings here with the Fool energy. With the Knight of Wands, this is about not being afraid. This is also about promiscuity. For some of you, you're very promiscuous. Okay, and you may hop from relationship to relationship. So you may be somebody who's a serial dater. That falls under the 5th house as well. Or you could be dealing with someone that you don't want to let go of who's a serial dater. Maybe you're dealing with someone who doesn't want to take things to the next level. And you don't understand why. What's this Fool energy in reverse, please? Yeah, we have the Six of Sword energy in reverse, being stuck. Not moving forward. This is Aquarius energy again. Not moving forward. Uranus energy. Uranus in Aquarius. All right. Being not able to be you, not being accepted for who you are. For some of you, this could be about your sexual preference as well. Your sexual orientation. Not being accepted for who you are. Maybe wanting to come out of, quote unquote, come out of the closet. But you are afraid that you won't be accepted by friends, family, peers, lovers. Some of you are afraid to do that because you're afraid you won't be accepted. Yeah. Because the Six of Swords is in reverse and the Nine of Swords is in reverse. That's 15 swords. That's a tower moment. Some type of communication. Mercury. Both of these cards are Mercury. This is Gemini. And this is Mercury in Aquarius. So communication, coming out, speaking up, speaking your truth is what the issue is for some of you. You're hiding something with the Five of Swords here and the King of Cups. You're hiding your emotions, how you truly feel. For some of you, like I said, it's your sexuality. Or the fact that, you may like to participate in certain sexual activities. Maybe you've been rejected for that. On another level, there's somebody here who may have abused a child sexually and it bothers them. It's on their spirit, and they want to get this out so that they can heal. Maybe they were traumatized as a child, and as a result, they traumatized someone's child, and this is on their soul. It's weighing heavy on their soul. They say a lot of people who've been sexually abused who don't deal with it, who don't heal with it or get help. Sometimes a lot of them, not all of them, but sometimes a lot of them go on to abuse others, abuse other children. I see that here for some. Some of you could be dealing with somebody who's dealing with that. Some of you could be dealing with someone who's a sex offender and you may not know it, and you have children, or and this person may have violated your child, and that could be something you know about and you're dealing with. But for a lot of you, you're dealing with someone who's non-committal. You're dealing with someone who's dealing with other people and they're non-committal. They're not going to commit to you. They're just trying to control you. They're very egotistical. This is someone who wants to have their cake and eat it too. This is someone who will step out on you and cheat on you and has done so. This person is not happy within, but you're not happy as well because you're dealing with this type of individual. And so you're overcompensating for them in some way, shape, or form by underestimating your, or not standing in your truth and standing up to this person and saying, this is not for me. You're not for me. For some of you, it's because this person has, you could be sexually tied to this person intimately. The sex is crazy. You know, you have a sexual tie, sexual bond that's very strong, and it's hard for you to walk away. So some of you could just be weak for the sex for this individual. Some of you, like I said, you're not, I think I said this too, but you're not able to commit because you have sexual fetishes, sexual desires that you could be ashamed of or afraid of or something like that. There's a myriad of things going on here. So you'll have to figure out what it is for you. But again, the key to all of this is, and again, this, I don't know if I said this, but this may not be your natal placement. You may not be a natal Chiron in Aries person. You may be a natal Chiron in Virgo or Chiron in Gemini or Chiron in something else. But as a collective, we're dealing with the Chiron energy in Aries, which is an I am. That is standing your ground, your self-esteem, your self-worth. And when it's in retrograde, you're questioning that and looking at what around you is hindering your self-esteem and your self-worth to the point where you're masking it, where you're overindulging in other things to mask that, okay? So this is what I have for you, Sag. Hopefully this helps you or someone you know to get some clarity on the situation if you're experiencing any of these things, so that you're able to take a look at that wound, accept it for what it is, and get the help you need so that you're able to heal, all right? That's what I got for you guys. If you need a personal, feel free to reach out. I'm at 8thhouseenergy@gmail.com. I love you. I wish you the best. Take care of yourself.